This is the story of Daddy, Mr. Noonan, and the never-ending waterfall. Have you ever heard this one?
No.
Right, well, Daddy, Mr. Noonan had a leaky tap. Not only did they have a leaky tap, but their basin drainage hole was blocked, which means that every time they turned the tap on, it just filled up with water. The water wouldn't go away. So Daddy thought, I know what I'll do with this. I'll use Daddy magic. So he clapped his hands together 3 times.
1, 2, 3.
And rubbed his hands together and said, drain, unblock.
Drain, unblock.
Well, at first it seemed to work. The drain seemed to be unblocked. So he turned on the tap hard as he could. And the water just went away. He thought, that's great. So Daddy Mr. Noonan said, that's awesome. You better let the tap run a while and so make sure that drain is not blocked anymore. So they went and had some tea cake and hot chocolates for morning tea. And then they said, shall we go out and check the mail? So they went to check the mail out and they stepped at the front door and you won't believe what they discovered. What? Their house was perched on Niagara Falls. Do you know what that is? Mm-hmm. That's a huge waterfall. It's probably one of the biggest waterfalls in the world outside of Victoria Falls in Africa. Niagara Falls, which is on the border of Canada and USA, North America, is probably massive. And there's the house right on the edge of where the waterfall is going over. And they said, well, I think we fixed the blocked drain, Daddy. How are we going to fix this? Well, they didn't know. So Daddy went back. Well, when he did the special magic to unblock the drain, they must have got a bit confused and transported them to Niagara Falls. The whole house and everything. Well, they sat there on the front porch watching the waterfalls going over, and then they noticed that the house was slowly moving to the edge of the waterfall, inch by inch. And he said to Mr. Noonan, pretty soon we're going to be over the edge and we're going to fall down the waterfall, house and all. Can't you do your Daddy magic to get us back? So Daddy clapped his hands 3 times.
1, 2, 3.
Rubbed his hands together.
What's the funny part?
Hang on. Rubbed his hands together and said, house back.
House back.
Well, that would normally work. But this time it didn't work. Do you know what happened?
Mm-hmm.
The house didn't go back. It turned into a back. It turned into a big human back. And Daddy Mr. Noonan was standing on somebody's back. Just a disembodied back. No arms, no head, no legs, just a back. And it was floating in the river, heading towards the waterfall. Oh no, quick, Daddy, use your magic. Before he could finish it, they went over the edge of the waterfall. Down they plummeted. Down with the water. The water was so loud it was rushing in their ears they could barely hear each other. But Daddy quickly clapped his hands together 3 times.
1, 2, 3.
Rubbed them together. And said, he couldn't think of anything to say. He said, and then you know what happened? He was so frightened that he fluffed. He went, now, I don't know what that translates to in magic talk, but it's not good. So he clapped his hands together and rubbed his hands, but he fluffed instead of making a charm. He fluffed. Immediately they were transported. They were gone. Do you know where they ended up? Mm-hmm. On another planet. Mm-hmm. Do you know what the name of the planet was? Mm-hmm. The name of the planet was... That was the name of the planet. Now, that seems very strange that a planet doesn't have an actual spoken name but a sound. But imagine if you went to that planet, what it might be like. Can anyone tell me?
Yes.
Do you think it would smell like fluffs?
Yeah.
Yes! All of a sudden they were on this planet. And Daddy Mr. Noonan looked at each other and went, oh my goodness, what's that smell? Oh! And there was the sound all the time. Daddy quickly clapped his hands together 3 times, right?
1, 2,
3, rubbed his hands together, and he was about to say, take me back home, when all of a sudden he vomited. The smell of the planet was so bad that he vomited. Now, what happened last time he made something wrong like that? Can anyone tell me? Yeah, he ended up on planet... This time he vomited. So where do you reckon he ended up?
On planet Bonnet.
He ended up in a sea of vomit. Oh, yuck! There they were, swimming in a sea of vomit. Oh, can you imagine what that would smell like?
Yes.
Vomit! Immediately, what happens when you smell vomit, somebody else's vomit? You start vomiting, right? So they immediately started going, bleh, bleh, bleh. Daddy quickly clapped his hands together 3 times.
1, 2.
Bleh, and said, bleh, 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 take me to planet. But then, unfortunately, something terrible happened. He pooed his pants. Oh no. He went to the biggest poo mountain in the world. Daddy and Mr. Noonan were sitting on a mountain of poo. Oh! Now the worst thing of all is it was soft poo. So as soon as they materialised on top of the planet, on top of the mountain of poo, they just started sinking into it. Slowly, bit by bit, they were up to their waists in poo. They were going, oh, this is awful. Oh, horrible. Then they were up to their elbows. Oh, this is terrible. Then they were up to their shoulders in poo. They were up to their necks. They were up to their chin. When Daddy quickly clapped his hands together, threw the poo, squashing poo as he did it, and said, I really need to go too. And then the worst thing possible happened. He burped. Burp! Oh no! And immediately they were transported to Planet Burp. Oh no! Well, they got there and there were all these strange looking creatures just burping everywhere. Burp, burp, burp. Daddy said hello and they just went burp, 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 burp. We got to get out of here. Quickly guys, we got to get out of here. Burp, burp. Oh, burp, burp, burp. Oh, quickly clapped his hands together once more, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Rubbed his hands together and said, quickly take me. Achoo! Oh, no! He ended up on Planet Sneeze. Oh, I can't. We're never going to get home. Achoo! Achoo! The winds were so ferocious on Planet Sneeze from all the sneezing that they just kept falling over. Every time that there was a sneezing noise, Daddy and Mr. Noonan were pushed over and fell on their bum. Quick, clap your hands together 3 times, Daddy, said Mr. Noonan. 1, 2, 3. And he rubbed his hands together and... You'll never guess what happened. Can you tell me what happened? Yeah. Anyone? Yeah. He went, hiccup! Oh, no! He hiccuped! Oh. All of a sudden, where do you reckon they might be?
Hiccup!
Planet Hiccup! Well, this was the worst planet of all because it was just jumping up and down with hiccups. It was awful. They could barely stand up. It was jumping up and down. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, I didn't mean that. That's all this hiccuping makes me fluff. Well, Daddy clapped his hands together 3 times.
1, 2, 3.
And said, I can't stand it anymore, take me. But do you know what happened then? His nose started to dribble. Oh no, he had a dribbly nose. So it took him to Planet Snot. Oh no! Planet Snot. Oh, they were in a river floating down. It was a green, snotty river. Oh, yuck! They just couldn't stand it anymore. They were so sick, they were turning green in their faces. They were so disgusted and sick of all these horrible things they'd been. Daddy quickly tried to clap his hands together, but it was all snotty and stuck together. Oh, yuck! There was a big gooby on his palm. Oh, yuck! Oh, take me home! Oh, he finally got it out. And bang, they were home. They were covered in fluffs, snots, poos, wheeze, vomit, and they quickly went and had a shower and washed all the rubbish off them, all the disgusting stuff, and said, do you want to have some dinner? And Daddy said, no, I do not want to have some dinner. I am sick to my stomach from all this stuff. I want to go to bed. I'm tired, and at least the drain block is fixed. Then Mr. Noonan said, yes, but we've still got a leaky tap. He said, I don't even want to think about it. That'll be a story for tomorrow, how we fixed the leaky tap. And they went to bed. Who liked that story?
I like Snotty too. Another story. Can we have the other
Hang on. No, that's it.